There's a happening every parent dreads, a shooting or an act of violence at your child's school. It's a tragedy that played out last week in Washington State when a popular freshman at a Seattle area school opened fire on his own friends, killing 2. And just in the past few days, we've had several West Michigan schools go on lockdown for various threats. Thankfully, none of them turned out to be any credible threats, but we are taking this as an opportunity, of course, to help you, the parent, know how to react in a situation like this. We are talking live today with the head of public safety at Grand Rapids Public Schools, Larry Johnson, a national expert on school safety as well. Larry, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Well, tonight we want to drill down what parents need to know when they get that call, maybe they see it on the news. Your first reaction is just, you know, as a parent, you're just, oh my goodness, this isn't happening. What should a parent do when they find out about a situation like this? Well,
the first reaction, the parent's going to want to go to the school. And that really creates some problems for responding emergency agencies. It also creates a problem for the schools. And we can't tell a parent not to come. But I think what parents have to do is really trust the schools, trust the administrators in the schools that, number one, they've been doing drills, they've walked their kids through the drills, and that the kids are really going to be in a safer environment if it's a contained environment. If parents are arriving at the school, administrators are going to be distracted to try to work with those parents to give them answers. There's some other things that the school has to do as well, and we have to get better at mass communication and getting information out to the parents, as much information as we can without jeopardizing the investigation, so that those parents are not sitting out there worried about what's going on inside that school building.
Right, and it's so easy to get that information out there now. As far as the presence of cell phones on students, social media has certainly changed the game in recent years as it's become so prevalent. It's a blessing and a curse, though, isn't it? The word can get out, but it can be inaccurate and cause panic.
Absolutely. And so what we have to do now inside of our schools is really teach our kids about the proper etiquette in the event of an emergency and what messages to tweet, what messages to send. We know the kids are going to send the message, so now we probably want to start thinking about, schools need to really start thinking about to give the kids the right message to send, because they're going to send the message. And the last thing we want to do is have just an onslaught of parents rushing to the school, because there's other potential of injury to parents who's rushing to the school, preventing emergency vehicles to get into that school as well. So we've got to work together with parents, but the biggest thing is communication, mass communication.
You talked about the plan that is in place and always fine-tuning it to make it even better. How are we doing?
Well, you know, in West Michigan, I think we're doing very well. We still have work to do. It's not a perfected system as of yet, but we're always building on the components that will make a school safe. We add to these components and we expose our administrators and expose our parents to these components. But what we must do now is we need to get our kids inside of the room to get them to understand responsible behavior. But we also must continue to train our parents. We spend an awful lot of time training school staff, but we must also train our parents on how to respond. 4 or 5 parents knowing the protocols of a school district will make a tremendous difference and impact on how that response is handled.
Okay. Larry Johnson, thank you so much for joining us from Grand Rapids Public Schools. It's something that we can only just keep working on, really, to make it as good as we can.
It's an ever-ending process.
Yeah.
For us.
It is. Larry, thank you. Coming up at 6 o'clock, you're going to hear more from Larry about how some schools may need to step up when it comes to updating their crisis communication plan. We'll have that for you coming up.